Please note, throughout this video, Richa uses the term peripartum depression. The correct terminology is prenatal depression. Experiencing both prenatal and postpartum depression is called perinatal depression. A visual description of what Kriti and Richa are wearing is Kriti is wearing a blue top with pink dots underneath a pink cardigan. Richa is wearing a magenta shirt with tiny golden hearts printed on it. Kriti and Richa are sitting on a beige couch with blue pillows to their sides.
Welcome to Breaking Barriers with KR.
Okay, right on time.
Yeah, we're getting good at this.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us again. And this time around, we're going to go on the journey with Richa and ask her about the relationship, with her husband, and how if depression had an impact on your relationship. Okay, so tell us a little bit about how you and your husband met to begin with. How long have you known each other? And then we can kind of talk about the depression aspect later.
Yeah. That'll help because I'm actually really nervous about this one because this is like a very important person in my life. So to protect his privacy, I'm going to call him V. I met him in college and we started dating towards the middle end of college. He's been my best friend. He knows everything about me. I don't hide stuff from him. I feel very comfortable, very safe with him. We laugh together, we joke, we fight, but it's
who doesn't?
Yeah, it's a relationship. It's like an amazing one, and he's known me for a long time. Is basically the point I'm trying to make.
As you're approaching, your pregnancy journey with your second one, and you had initially mentioned that you were experiencing lack of sleep. Did that have an impact on your relationship with your husband?
Yes, the lack of sleep did impact our relationship. In fact, the lack of sleep is what started by the depression. Things were starting to become a bigger deal than I normally make things to be a bigger deal. Like we were shopping at Target because we had just moved to a new place and we wanted to set it up. And I was very particular about everything I wanted. And that is not something I've ever been particular about before. And I just remember being like, why does this have to be so hard? Because I was like, no, we need to buy this exact same type of basket. And we need to buy this type of bin. And it would probably be different if I was like this always and I did care about that stuff. But all of a sudden I started caring about it more when I didn't before. So it was just like I was a different person. The lack of sleep became worse and worse and worse. I remember I just was so tired at one time and we were at the dinner table and V was like, "You're tired, aren't you?" And I just slammed the table repeatedly. I was saying, "I am so tired. I just want sleep." And our son, who is 2.5 years old, he got up and ran away from the table because understandably so, I'm pretty sure I scared him. And V was like, "You're scaring our son." And he went to our son, chased after him to come and soothe him. And it was just more like I was acting out. I was a different person. I just was not the person that I normally am.
Thanks, Richa, for saying that, because you're basically at the moment where even you didn't know what was happening.
No.
Did V know what was going on at the time? How was he?
No, he was like, "What is happening? Like, why is everything a big deal? You're not getting sleep. How can I help you?" I would wake him up in the middle of the night and I would like ask him to stay with me in the middle of the night because I wasn't sleeping. And he needs sleep. Just everyone needs sleep. And he would eventually start falling asleep. And I was like, "But I'm all by myself." And I would try to force him to stay awake. It just, nothing made sense. And it was causing him to be tired too. Fortunately, his sleep kicked in and he did eventually fall asleep. I was not being logical for so much of this.
How did it all make sense when you and V found out that, okay, this is what you're going through? How did that change? And what was your relationship like at that point?
After we realized that I was having something called peripartum postpartum depression, things made more sense. He was more patient with me. And I also knew what was contributing to all this different behavior within me. I have this very strong defining moment as to our daughter was born. So now I had entered into the postpartum depression area, and she was nursing, and she preferred one side of my breast. She was only drinking milk out of one side. And I just remember looking at V and freaking out and being like, I can't believe this. Everything keeps on happening. And now she's not drinking milk. She's only drinking milk from one side and not the other side. And based on with our son, like 2.5 years before that, we would fight. And it would have been like, you need to give him formula then. That's what V would say. But this time around, there was more support. I was expressing a lot of like uncertainty and anxiety, and V would be like, "You're doing great. Like, she's drinking. She's fine. She drank from one side, but look, she looks happy." It was different. The support was there. We were communicating. Well, V was communicating well. I was just, I was doing the best that I could.
Yeah,
But
I mean, you're being hard on yourself, Richa. Tell us how, when you mentioned that you went into a psychiatric ward, how was V's reaction?
anytime he expressed any like doubt or concern was going to the psychiatric ward. He was like, you know that they'll take your cell phone, right? And then I was like, yes. And he was like, do you know that they'll take the shoelaces off your shoes? Yeah, like you're basically giving your rights away. And I just remember looking at him being like, I need this. And he was like, okay, yeah.
I trust your decision.
At that moment, I was confident I need to go to the psychiatric ward. He visited me, and I was there essentially for that Sunday. And then Monday, I went straight from there to the triage maternity ward, and he obviously visited me there because he needed to be there for the birth of our daughter. But yeah, he was great. As I say, having a label for the condition you have can give clarity, can help define the environment, and help people adjust for you. So before we knew I had peripartum postpartum depression, there was nothing making sense. It was just me being a changed person. But then after it was given a label that I had peripartum postpartum depression, V was like, oh, I need to support her. And I was able to be like, okay, I have changed, but it's because of what's going on with me. I knew that I will eventually go back to my old self. I just had to do the work for it.
You're absolutely right. Clarity,
yeah,
is what made such a big difference with even the way he was approaching. Seems like he was now approaching, giving you that supportive shoulder. What is one message that you would like to give to the audience who is listening? Now, we could have audience who maybe themselves are, going through a situation where anxiety, depression is kind of taking over their lives, or we may have their friends or family.
The people that are going through it, I would recommend that you share with your significant other. If you're dating and it's getting serious, then I think it's always healthy to share, because that clarity, that understanding of what's happening inside of you in terms of the mental illness, it helps give the other person a better understanding and they can adjust better. That's what happened with V. If you are the person who doesn't have it, but you are a big part of the person who does have this mental illness, just being supportive and sometimes asking, what can I do to help? I think that's very important. And I think it's just amazing when everyone comes together and works with each other and helps one another out. And that's what life is all about, right? Like
100%, especially marriage or relationship.
Yes,
right? Like,
deep friendships and everything.
It seems like that was the test in your relationship, and both of
Definitely.
We
made it. We passed.
Any departing thoughts? Anything else that you want to mention before?
Well, thank you for the time. And it's relationships and mental illness, I think, is it's not easy to navigate, but communication is key.
Well, thank you so much for sharing about your beautiful relationship, but even that had a rocky journey, and that mental health can have an impact on so many different layers of our lives. Thank you all for joining us today.
And yeah, thank you for being here. And as always, continue the safe space at home, at work. I will never stop saying that. And also, I will be interviewing Krithia on parenting and with her hearing loss and how those go hand in hand. All right. Bye, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you to Mandy Harvey for giving us permission to use her song Something I Can Feel in our intro.